Le programme suivant sera en anglais.
Alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Saddid lisani, nawir janani, safi amani, wazid barahi. Followers from around the world, welcome to Echo from Touba, happening here on Lamfal TV every Wednesday at 3 o'clock on the VDN here in Senegal. We're delighted today to have a guest today, our sister, Miss MBACKE, Sokhna Natta SAMB, who's actually the Secretary General of F.A.I.S.E, an organization. She's going to come out what happened with that organization and the purpose of it. But before we start, we're going to wish long life to our Khalif, Sheikh Muntaha al-Makki. May Allah give her good health, long life, and then help him on all the task he's having right now. And also salam to my Sheikh Murtada ibn Sheikh Abdullah, and all the viewers watching. You can also go on Facebook. We're going to upload, inshallah, all the videos over there. Don't forget to like that page, inshallah. Miss MBACKE, Sokhna Natta, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're glad to have you. Today we're going to talk about, of course, two organizations she's presiding. One is what do you call them again? The F.A.I.S.E, which is funding the diaspora around the world. But there's another organization she's going to come out with. But before we start, on those grounds, can you tell us about your educational background first?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
S.Fallou, I appreciate the invitation. First of all, I would like to join you in the best wishes for our Sheikh, our Khalif General, and best wishes to all the Serigne Touba sons and to my Serigne Basiru Mutada. And to just start with that, telling about my background. I studied in Senegal. I was born in Castor.
You were, right.
And lived in Grand Yoff, and I studied at Derklé Castor for my elementary, and then went to the Lycée Vanvo High School and to the University of Dakar, Cheikh Anta Diop, where I got my master's degree in 1995. And I worked with ENDA Chairman, which is an international NGO, for 4 years, and got a scholarship to go to the US, and went to the University of Minnesota to study international education and administration, where I got a master's degree in 2000. And actually 2002 started a PhD that I haven't finished yet, but because I had a job working in education, and I worked for the Institute of New Americans, which has a high school and welcoming center for refugees. For the 16 years I was in Minnesota, and came back to Senegal after the, as we call, alternance, and hope to bring my experience to Senegal and worked with President Macky Sall. And I have been the administrator of F.A.I.S.E, which is a support fund for Senegalese in the diaspora since 1993. Since 2013, actually.
Beautiful.
And I have funded a lot of things. I did research in international education and development. I wrote a thesis on Girls Today, Women Tomorrow for the University of Minnesota, which is online, and where I started talking about how women today, girls today, will be women tomorrow and be in charge of any nations. And I did a lot of articles, and I started also an international organization named WeMade, but FEMAD in French, Femmes en Action pour le Développement. And since then I have been working with that, and we have a big network right now around the globe.
Beautiful. Well, if you came out as you learned administration in the university over there, and you started FEMAD, that helps really when you educate children, especially girls. We educate the whole country. How did the idea of creating that association came up to you first in America?
I think I got all this because, first of all, I was very young when I lost my dad, and I saw woman power in my mom. She's been in markets, in everywhere. She just being brave, just going around all the time to make sure that we studied, to make sure that we have a better life. And I started thinking, the power is with women because we are in charge of what is called life. Because God, Allah, made us carry, you know, children in our wombs. That means that we can take care of the world. And I always cogitated on that, thinking, why are we going to change the world? Because if a woman decides not to have children, we will not have human being on this earth. So I started thinking the power women have should be shown to the world and should be something we need to build any nation on. Because if women are helped and if they are strengthened, they can bring about changes. And I do believe in that. It's not, some people call me feminist. I'm not feminist. I just believe that being man or woman, we need to bring our powers together, and so that we can start in that. I think I got it from my mom first, and then growing up in Senegal, I realized that we needed a lot of help. And being in America, seeing all these international organizations, going to the UN, doing a lot of things, I'm thinking, why don't we strengthen women? And that belief to me is so deep in me that everything, most of the time, being by luck or by experience, everything that I touch is around women, and I do believe in that.
So since you work with women, I'm going to ask you, like, you know, in your point of view, how do you see the role and the situation of women in Africa right now?
It needs to be strengthened. I think that we have what we call parity in Senegal. But since 1930, we have seen that in the U.S. that women have a say. We have what we call in the UN, they talk about the globalization and all of those things. I think women now, or maybe since 2000, have realized the role they can play. Because to me, it's hard for us women to say, put us in one place. For me, we have to know which we have different roles. We have to know our roles, and I don't want women to just cry about they don't consider us, but we need to make sure that we are in our own place. First of all, we need to understand what the role we can play on this earth, and make sure that men put us in that role, but not wait until somebody bring us there. So that's the thing that I think women should be more conscious about. We shouldn't be sitting there, you know, talking about where is our place. We need to know where we are, what we can do, and then go and get help and make sure that people put us in some place.
It's been a lot of changes, though, since because Senegalese women were voting, for instance, since the 1800s, and then they're playing a big role in society right now, and they have a parity a while ago, So there's like a huge,
a huge step was compared to where my mom was, for example, compared to where my sisters were, because, for example, in my family, I studied further because all the men studied very further after the university, and I always said, why my sisters did not study? Because they were married early. But nowadays we just see that if you go to the National Assembly, if you go anywhere in the government, even though we don't have the same number, but women are going to study because the education, we need help since the beginning when we are young. A girl, if the girl is not educated, we cannot have women in higher power. So we need to start from scratch, from the beginning, at age 5, 6, 7, make sure that we have men and women going to school, but then they get married and they stay home. We need a support for them to be married at the same time, and be in charge and continue their education. I was married when I was 18. I was just lucky enough to have a support system with my family that helped me go further into my education, but it's not obvious. But Senegal is part of, in West Africa and around the world, of those countries where the talk about women is being done, and a lot has been done.
Beautiful. And also in Africa, we've seen many women president, like in Liberia. We've had a woman prime minister in Senegal twice, I guess.
Yes.
So in the future, is a woman becoming
Why
president?
not? Yes.
Okay. Oh, listen.
We have to believe it.
Beautiful.
Ellen Sirleaf was
president, right?
Yeah.
And she did very well.
Yeah, very well.
Democracy,
very well.
Stayed there, and then alhamdulillah.
And guess what? Women in charge will make a big difference in this world.
You think so?
Yes, I do.
I hope so. I hope so. There's a lot to be done in the world, though. There's too many problems. Hopefully, women, of course, will do something that'll impact society as a whole. Can you tell us a little bit about? First, we are happy to have today our guest, Miss MBACKE Sokhna Natta SAMB, who's heading right now F.A.I.S.E funds from states from Senegal that are helping the diaspora right now. We're going to come back to that later on. Right now, we're kind of talking on the first organization, which is the F.A.I.S.E, which is helping really women across Senegal to do much better. Can you tell us, before we come to the other one, F.A.I.S.E, on F.A.I.S.E, what will your work, the link you had with UN and the Chairmond, NGO that helps also? Who helped you to really get across?
Yes, when I worked with Chairmond, I actually traveled a lot around Senegal. When I was with Chairmond, I discovered Senegal.
That was a lot of work.
A lot of work. I discovered Senegal because of the American, a student that came to Senegal. I can say that I discovered Senegal because I worked with an international organization,
right.
And one of my boss, Moussa Seck, that I salute, by the way, just gave me a program to coordinate, and that program had American students coming to Senegal for 9 months. So I had to go with them in the depot of Senegal. And then I can see that the depot we went, the women were just sitting there sometimes cooking and doing nothing. And these American students were helping them organize into a health center, into these kind of things. So I started thinking about what I can do. But when I went to the US and I did an internship, in many organizations, I went one day to the UN and I listened to what women do around the world. And I'm thinking, okay, we need to start helping women. And I started this small thing with my friends where we were shipping clothes that we don't need, shoes that we don't need to help. And then one day I came to Senegal, I think it was 2010. Leaving Touba, going back home, I just stopped somewhere because I saw 2 children and their mom. They were barefoot, no shoes, and they were selling buy and bisap. And I'm like, okay, let me just stop here and buy this. When I bought it and I gave her the change, I asked her, are you going to buy shoes for your kids? She said, actually, I'm not going to come here and sell anything for a week because you gave me 10,000 CFA. And I'm thinking, okay, with 10,000, she can live for a week. And then I started thinking about F.A.I.S.E, and that's how it started. Many people heard me say that in many programs. But F.A.I.S.E started, and I'm thinking, if with 10,000, 4,000 actually Senegalese, I could sell this product in the US, in New York, for about $100. So why don't I help them do a training so they can ship things? And that's how F.A.I.S.E started. And I called my friends in New York and all around the US, and called my friends in Senegal, and I started organizing them into cells and into cells of 25 and 50, and tell them, if you have Café Touba, we can ship it for you. If you have juice, we can ship it, but you need to do the training. And we're helping them with this huge network right now to help them sell their products and get more money instead of just sitting here and going into the agriculture and not having a network to sell.
So what is poverty, the eligibility factor, or how do you pick up your
We talk about it. We talk about it, and we have this thing about support system. If you don't want to support your sister, you're not part of F.A.I.S.E. First of all, we have the people like me who are in offices have to buy fish and vegetable to others who don't have the opportunities that I have. If I have a better salary, I need to bring somebody up so she can get something. So you need to sign that you will help within F.A.I.S.E. You need to get a membership card, and you need to have people around you that can produce something. Do something, even if it's going to the market and buy vegetable and sell it. We want you to do something, and with what you do, we come and help you. For example, a woman who brings up who sell vegetable for 50,000 CFA, we can give her 50,000 more, so she has 100, and we give her clientele.
Right.
So that's why we're doing the networking system. You need to believe in the network. Yeah.
Right. That's beautiful. That's how, and then there you go, FAMAD. And then when did you have the idea of coming to Senegal, and then eventually meeting the president to start a new job? How that started? Or he saw you in your activities, or you did the first move?
I have known the president and Senegal in general and many people, but I've never been involved in politics. Guess what? Because my mom was in politics for a long time, and I didn't see anything she earned except that she was there, you know, applauding and just being, you know, tired about, you know, doing part of the politics. So I did not have politics in my mind until in 2006. I was in Minnesota, and President Obama came to Minnesota, and we went to the Target Center, me and my 2 kids, and I just listened to the guy, and I'm thinking, he might be the only president, black president on this earth in America. So I'm here, let me just be involved. I went to Congressman Keith Ellison, who's a black congressman, Muslim congressman, who lived not far from me, and I said, how can I be involved? And he said, go online, register, and you become a volunteer. So we went there, and I volunteered. And I went to some houses where people were chasing me. They are Republican or something. And I was talking, and people were like, your accent is, you know. Weird. I'm like, okay, I just want to know. I'm not American, but I want this guy to win. I want President Obama to be the president. And I was talking to some people. I was bringing sometimes food, and I started being involved, and I'm like, this is not hard. Why am I not doing it for my country? So I went to Senegal 2012, actually, before the election, and I went to the General Assembly. I went to the presidents, because I didn't even know the phase I'm in charge of today. As an immigrant, I had my salary. I didn't care about what Senegal do, but I was just criticizing whatever happens in the government. Now that I'm in it, I'm like, okay, I didn't do my job, and I need to say it. So I started thinking about, you know, what can I do for Senegal? We need change. Because I was standing here one time in the Corniche, and I saw these beautiful cars that are like so expensive in the US. At the same time, this woman selling peanuts. And I'm thinking, is there a part I can play? And I started with FAMAD to try to help, to break, you know, to at least have women do something, and that's how it became. And when the President Macky Sall started, we all started with him, and I believe that we needed a change, and change was, first of all, there was a government in place that was here for too long. It's going to be hard to change, so we need to replace that. And I started being involved in F.A.I.S.E, and the President, you know, saw what I'm doing, and called me up to come back. So you're an active member of F.A.I.S.E? Yes,
you're meaning the party of the President?
Yes.
I'm sure he gave you an agenda or something you have to achieve, though, in terms of your organization. How you started it when he first signed the papers to become the administrator of that particular group. What did you done? What you've done?
F.A.I.S.E existed since 2008. 2008, actually, and it started with 340 million CFA funding, and we couldn't fund a lot, but it was for Senegalese who lived abroad, who wanted to come back and have something in Senegal. So, but when I was appointed by the President Macky Sall, he told me that F.A.I.S.E exists already, but it's not a big fund. I want to put more money in F.A.I.S.E, and I want to start a new credit line for women only in the diaspora. Because he went around the world, and he knows that women are very entrepreneur. They are really into, for example, you know, hair. If you go to America, you know, the restaurants, and they are into hair braiding and stuff like that. And he told me, I want you to go around the world, and wherever Senegalese are doing something, you help them in giving them something, and they can pay back, and it becomes a revolving fund. And that's his own creation. And I was in charge of starting it from scratch and trying to find out how we can better do it. And nowadays, I can tell you that we have funded more than 4,000 women.
4,000 women?
4,000 around the world.
That's beautiful.
And we gave 200 million in the US in 2014, 200 in Spain, 200 in Italy, 350 in France. Wherever, how many people, Gambia, we have 150. million. So we went to every country. We have done 29 so far, in mostly in Africa, West Africa.
Do they have to present you a project, or you just hand them the money?
Yes, they have to. They have a project. We have a Canva, you know, where they can look and just tell us what they do first and what they have, because it's a support fund.
Right.
You have to be in something so we can help you in whatever you're doing. So if you have, for example, a restaurant and you need some, you know, money, for operational fund, we can help you with the operational fund. And whenever you give back the money, you can get more, and so on and so forth. And since last year we are doing grouping women. For example, some women are now exporting or importing, you know, products from Senegal. They're bringing it from, for example, Spain, and they come here and take Senegalese product to send home. So that's how we do it. And nowadays the budget of 340 million is now 3,500,000,000.
That's a lot of money there.
Yes,
Mashallah.
so that's what the President Macky Sall did for
Right,
women
that's beautiful.
and people in the diaspora. But let me tell you this, we not have enough for everybody. Somebody's listening to me today is thinking, I have been waiting for my funding. Guess what? We don't have money for everybody. This is a government project.
And you have to present a suitable project.
You have to have a suitable project.
On top of that, also, it is a loan. Yeah, people, you know.
It is a loan.
So are they paying back?
Most of them are, women are. We are about 78, 80. No, it's true. I can show you the proof. Some countries have already received 4 times funding. And I can give you the countries that are doing that, because they have given out everything we gave them, and the president gave them more. Mostly people around the world, they have been 80% reimbursement rate. In Senegal, because Senegalese usually don't come back and take care of the project. They stay in Italy, for example, and create something and bring people to take care of it, and they go back. So when they're coming back, it's for Magal or for end of the year or Tabaski. Guess what?
And
if you
everything
don't
is grown
stay,
after.
yes, if you don't stay here to take care of your own things, most of the time it doesn't work.
Right.
So what we're doing now is having a system, support system, and we've been doing that to help them around and make sure that even if you're going, when we give you a loan, you have to bring a second person who will be in charge of reimbursing and making sure, because we go also and look at doing a follow-up.
So isn't that some really thorough investigation had to be done before the money is handed out?
Yes, that's what it is. It's a support fund, and people forget that. We can just look at a project that is really reliable and can, first of all, there are criteria. You have to create employment. We don't fund anybody who doesn't tell us how many employees you can have. As a Senegalese who come abroad, you need to create employment. You need to tell us what you're doing. And agriculture, you know, all these kind of things around agriculture are things that we want people to do here in Senegal. And you have to tell us where. We don't want everybody to do their project in Dakar. And actually, if you are in Dakar, you earn 5 points. And if you are, for example, in Casamance, you earn 10 points. So we have 100 points by criteria where you need to follow in order to be selected. Now, once you're selected, you wait for the money and get funding. So the selection process is not me, it's not the president or anybody. It's experts. We have a group of experts from the Ministry of Agriculture, from the Ministry of Fishing, etc. And those experts give points. And whenever they finish, we know we have 1 billion to give this year. Who qualified, and we call you up. Some people also have been called up, and we cannot even. And
then, if they disqualified, you call them, tell them you're not.
Yes,
your
they know.
Not approved?
They know.
They know.
They know.
About it. That's
if you're not selected for 2 years, you're out, and you have to redo a project.
Redo another project.
Yeah.
So, is it the investment has to be done in abroad, or it's got to be oriented in Africa?
For women, they can be abroad or here. For men, only in Senegal. Because we want to strengthen Senegal. They have to come back, sir.
I mean, there's a parity. You calling for equality. Why you have to stand for men all the time?
S.Fallou, you and I. You and I were somewhere else, right? We came back. We tried to do something. So if we're giving money to everybody around, who's going to stay here? I think we know, and the idea behind F.A.I.S.E to me is something that bringing your experience to whatever you do. Here we are, you and I, speaking English in a program. Maybe 10 years ago, nobody wanted to do it because nobody was here to do it.
Right, right.
We have to come back, invest. And first of all, I'm going to say that to my family members, mostly the modus who have money. Building a house is not an investment. You need to create a company, hire people, and make sure that you are part of what we call, you know, the Senegal Emergent, PSL.
We're going to talk about it later.
It's important for people to come and create employment.
Right.
Because if not, what's going to happen? Other nationalities are coming to invest in Senegal and employ us. And this is our country.
Right.
So that's the bottom line. We want men to come because most of the time they have more, you know, bargaining power. So if you create something in, for example, let's say Touba, people are coming, you create employment in Touba. You create a business in Touba. You do something, but if you build a house, for example, you'll be having a house closed mostly maybe 11 months
and won't pay you at the end of the month anyway.
Exactly.
You're right.
That's not investment.
That's not investment. But in order to have to succeed in those investment, we need proper education. We got to educate the people.
Yes.
And that cannot be done by individuals.
Yep.
The government have to get involved.
Yes.
Is it the government? Well, we're going to talk about it later on, F.A.I.S.E. But is the government conscious about that?
Yes, it is. For example, F.A.I.S.E, which I'm in charge, we work closely with many ministries. There is a ministry of training, formation professionnelle, you know that, and people don't go there. I talk to my women in my organization and I told them, I talked to the minister and he can give me 50 people for free. Nobody signed up.
Oh.
They don't sign up and they're not aware of that. I understand that the government put in place all these programs, but people also have to go to the information. Yesterday I had a video online, for example, and the journalist sent me something somebody sent to him that Madam MBACKE did not fund my project. And the guy sent him on WhatsApp, did you apply? And he said, no. How am I going to fund somebody who didn't apply?
Right.
That's the same thing in training.
Right.
Government has to be put in place, and they did. I think in this government, we have all these programs like ONFP, you know, formation professional. We have 3 FPT. I have been traveling with all these directors. We're going to a forum. We organized one in Paris, one in New York already, and we're going to do it every 2-3 months in a country. Right. To show them what the government can bring. But still, somebody has to go there, register and do the training. But you're right, without training, people cannot succeed.
Right.
That's why even now banks and even F.A.I.S.E, before we give out the money, we organize a training session with our beneficiaries. And before they get the money, they need to show us that they have attended. And those who didn't show up will not get the money until they do the training.
That's obvious. And also, I think in order for the diaspora to know you, it has to go. Of course, we doing this program for the diaspora, for them to understand what FEMA and all these organizations are about. But also, Senegalese media, I think, is government media. There's RTS. There's other means. I mean, media, you know, operative. We should have like shown what really organizations like yours are doing. Help understand. The mainstream to understand that there's something that's been done, but I don't see those type of programs being run on TV or radio or through the media to help diaspora to understand that there's a lack of really information.
But you know what? Most people. Somebody told me this in New York. He said, media is not interested on trains that come on time, but those who are late. And I really like that.
Right.
But why? Because people are more interested into gossiping, into what you didn't do, into what I didn't do. They're more interested in that. And really, I do that too. Sometimes you open the news, you just want to hear something. Senegal people are on strike,
That's sad.
But did you go to find out what the government has done? And I am part of those people. I was in the US for a long time. When I wake up, I just want to know what's going on in Senegal. I never try to know what the government does, how many ministries there are, what they're doing. And I mastered what's happening in the US because I'm interested. You're right. Media has to play a part. I have been doing a lot of talking. Now I am transformed into a woman who talks. I go to any invitation, to many, you know, in the media. But still, is it what people want to hear? Because if I'm interested in funding, I go to a bank. If I'm interested in training, I need to go to the ministry that are in charge. And the means also. The government in Africa, in everywhere around the world, even the US nowadays, they have more than 200,000, people who don't have jobs. And this is the, the biggest country, maybe the most powerful country on earth.
Absolutely.
So we need to be realistic about what government can do. We need to be more realistic about we as as a people, what we can do for ourselves. Sometimes some people, I have seen people who come to my office and say, you know what, I am here, but I don't need funding. I have a lot of money. I have Senegalese come to tell me that. The first one I was impressed was, I have 100 million CFA. I'm like, are you serious? He said, yes, I lived in China. I'm back. I need the president to give me land, and I want to bring something. I'm like, of course, write to him. He's like, no, he's not going to read it. I said, just try. So he wrote. After 5 months, he was giving land. Now he has his own factory. And these are people who did not believe in what government can do. So we need to start.
There's some anecdotes you have of people you helped.
Yes.
I mean, the organization helped and we're doing well. We talked about someone in South Africa. Can you tell us about your...
Yes, I went to South... Yeah, the woman. Her name is Madam Lo. She's in South Africa. And all she does is bringing the shoes from GAYE. All the shoes and everything these artists made, these artisans made, the handcraft, she's taking it to South Africa. And I was so impressed. I was to South Africa not knowing that. And the ambassador called her and we met, and I'm like, okay, did you apply for funding? She said, yes. I said, what do you do? Because everybody's shoes, you're selling it. She said, that's what I do. I take things from South Africa, I bring it to there, but in the GAYE area, I bring everything to South Africa. I was so impressed, and she's listening to me. She's in Dakar even right now.
Beautiful.
I kept in touch with her because she's one of the example of people bringing Senegalese stuff abroad. And right there, I told her, you are part of the people who will get funding.
Absolutely.
She has a lot of women
that could be amplified in countries like Brazil,
around the world.
Those countries that are kind of African.
We haven't gone to Brazil, yes, but the ambassador sent us, a lot of projects. We have people in, for example, in Madrid, in Barcelona, that are doing like this spray perfume stuff, and now they have imported the product to do it in Senegal, and they will be hiring more than 300 people.
Beautiful.
And they were funded. We have Senegalese who are in Mecca. Nowadays, before the Hajj, they bring things from Senegal to Mecca, they sell it, and after the Hajj, they bring a container of incense and stuff. And it's working very fine.
That's beautiful.
Women in China got 80 million. Half of them came back, they opened their own stores, and they're doing importation of products. Example, I have so many examples, right, that I can show. And some people who came with their knowledge, because it's not just about what you bring.
You have to have experience.
But the knowledge, experience, and the training.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Miss MBACKE, of course. Again, we graduated from Cheikh Anta Diop University, went to Minnesota, learned administrative schools, and then came back for this big role she's playing right now in government, meaning the support fund for the diaspora. I mean, we're heading soon to the end of this show, though, but we're going to talk about the P.S.E. or the Senegal Rising, which is a program that's been put out by the government. On top of it, President Sall. Can you tell us about the P.S.E. first, what that is about?
I think it's just about rising, as you said, and I like that. I think that I always tell people, you cannot not notice what's happening in Senegal. If you leave the airport, Blaise Diagne, coming to Dakar, you see all these huge projects. You see all these projects about, the infrastructure. That's what P.S.E. is about. You need to put in place infrastructures that will help the country go up. If we take the example of China, it's just women, people. They build everything based on the number of people they have. And we have power when we have infrastructure. Economy is solid when we have infrastructure. And the president understands that. And he's a young president, first of all. And he has lived abroad and knows what's going on. And I think that P.S.E. is this thing that has the horizon in 35 years. But to me, we're not sure who's going to be here, but we can feel it now.
Right.
I was in Touba this weekend, and I look at the Ila Touba road, and I'm like, wow, I need to have my house ready in Touba so I can go every weekend. But it takes too long to do that. I think the buildings rising in Jamñaajo.
Right.
I think all these ministries moving there, you know, creating another big city that will have so many ministries and things around. Having all these people, I looked at the TV yesterday, I was watching a Dubai, you know, project happening in Jamñaajo. I have seen Americans come there, Turkish people, everybody. So we need to all be on board with the F.A.I.S.E. Because to me, you don't need to know the details, but you have to see what you can do. And what you can do is this program that the president is thinking about, which is beyond his presidency, because like he said, he's going to be here for 2 terms. But F.A.I.S.E. has this thing where the kids who were born today can be part of it, because it's a 35-year planning program. So we need to, every country has to have that, and I think it's a huge project, but that needs to be saluted. And I really appreciate it when I see that some Senegalese now are thinking about coming back. Personally, when I see Radisson, Movenpick, and all these hotels happening, you know, in Jamñaajo, I am proud. Because Senegal wasn't like this before. So now we need to make sure that we have a balance between those who have and those who have not, and make sure that we bring everybody on board so that they can understand that this is not a program for us on TV or in the government, but we need to bring everybody on board. And I can see, I talked to a family that I know, yes, they said they lived in Yarah, and they were moved to Kermasar because of the railroad. And I remember they came to me crying, saying that why they are moving us in Yarah. But 2 days ago they came and said they have a big house and they are happy they were moved because they have space. Because of the railroad, they have space and they had money to build a house. So we need to be on board and understand what infrastructure can make in a country.
But on that, on investment, on the F.A.I.S.E., critics says that if you build in Jamñaajo, it's going to make a big city. Dakar will be huge, will be crowded. Dakar will suffocate, some critics says. On top of that, also there's railroad that has been built from Jamñaajo to Sanitation of Dakar. It could have been wider, a railroad that goes in regions in St. Louis or in Casamance to help them really, because this is Gambia, just in between. Is it some mistakes that have been made?
No, there is a big bridge between Dakar and Gambia.
That's been built.
That's being built. The biggest bridge, about what, more than 50 billion. For the first time, it's being built in the Gambia. And there are programs of railroads. You know, sometimes when people take one side of it, they don't see what's behind. So the railroad is not just to bring people in Dakar, but to bring them back, because the ministries are moving to Jamñaajo, but some ministries are staying in Dakar, first of all. But we need to help. You know, the traffic in Dakar is, to me, is not sustainable. We need to do something about it. But there is a bigger program also in the railroads, being in the country. But we
imagine
cannot
having
do it all.
a train going to Touba every day.
I would go
going
there.
to Tambacounda every day.
I would live there.
I think that would be shouldn't be in the first.
No.
I mean, a much better project than this one.
I mean, in terms of priority, to me,
it's
not a big deal, because I don't see 100 people leaving Jurbel to come to Dakar every day. You need to think in terms of we need to think in terms of efficiency. I see a lot of people leaving the banlieue to come to Dakar. Hundreds. But I don't see 100 leaving Touba to come to Dakar. So is it efficient? I think, business and development is also planning. We don't have many Senegalese leaving the Gambia to come every day, but once the road or the bridge is done, we will see that. We have this Dakar Dem Dik now, Dakar Senegal Dem Dik, going all over the world, all over the place in Senegal. So step by step, I think the president's plan is to have all these things happening. But in every planning, you need to look at the efficiency and the cost, and all of those things. I think that we cannot stop people living in Kermassar, Rufisque to come and work to Dakar. I think it's more efficient to start a big railroad where you can help people go back and forth. And then, yes, of course, we need to think about those things. But the people that I know, my family that lives in Louga, they come to Senegal, Dakar maybe once in 3 months.
Maybe because they don't have the means, though. I mean,
but do they have the business? We need to build the builders business in Louga, business in Touba. We need to have infrastructure, all of these things, to have them stay there, because that's where they live. To me, that's what it is. If you go to California, people stay there, they have things to do. If you go to Baltimore, etc., we cannot bring people all the way to New York every day, and that's why New York is like that. Just an example to tell you that we need to think about developing all these areas instead of thinking about moving people all the time. To me, we need to have big hospitals, we need to have big markets, we need to have, you know, development around. And PAISE, if you look at the plan, that's what happened in every region.
Right. That's beautiful. And also on many aspects of the PAISE, or this economic, program that's been settled by the president, there's also investment that is being done in religious cities. And we've seen in some cities, some houses, some palaces being built, some investment really that being put out in some certain cities. Can you tell us about those investment, though?
I think it's I just thank the President Macky Sall for doing that, because my mom is also part of a family. I just take the case of Tiwawan. We went there and we never slept there. I spent the night there like 2 years ago, because everything was done, ready, and we had a space to stay. I think it's a big plan. I don't know, I always say that maybe it's Batin, but I don't know who told the President, but it's needed. And first of all, that's what it should be about, what people need. I think politics is not about talking about what we did well or not. President is good, or Madam MBACKE is good, or Mr. S.Fallou is good. Politics is about seeing the impacts of what you do on people. To me, that's my philosophy about politics. Politics is not about being in a party. It's about listening to the people, because the people have their own right to go and vote, but they know what you did for them.
And that's the reason why you got elected.
That's why you're here. If you look at the women, I saw on TV a woman, and I cried, who's saying that she used to walk 3 kilometers back and forth to get water, and now she has a drilling and all these things. I need to see the impact of politics, and whoever is the president, whoever is the government, we're going to be here for some time, and some other people will come. But there is a continuity in state. We need to make sure that people's needs are addressed. To me, that's what we do. Even if we don't do it well, let's try. If we try to do it, then we're good. All these, for example, I always take the case of Ila Touba, because I'm so interested. I want to be in Touba every weekend. Sometimes just thinking about 3 or 4 hours, I'm like, it's too much.
It's going to really change the face of Touba.
It's going to face not face of Touba only, but the whole cities, Chenaba, all these things around. So we need to start thinking about, I was thinking about who's going to have all these shops like in the US. I always think crazily, US, this stopping area where people can drink. I'm thinking about who am I going to see and tell them, can you bring, a supermarket around the Touba area? We need to think about that now before it's too late, because if we don't invest,
somebody else will do it.
All the countries will come and
maybe
invest.
the people from the diaspora, my fellow friends over there listening to you, maybe could get some investment from you, and then start this.
They have money. They have to bring their money, and we help them. So, but some people have money. But let me tell you this: I have a lot of our friends that have money, but they don't even think about coming back. And maybe these infrastructures and convenience, because most of the time when I first got back, I was thinking I'm going back to America, because I needed convenience. I am used to convenience. Being in my car, going to a gap, getting the money, not getting out of my car. I went to a bank, I was in line, I'm like, what? So if you stayed longer abroad, especially in America, it's hard to adjust. But we need to know that this is where we belong.
We belong. We have to build it ourselves.
Yes.
Because they build it.
Yes.
And we need to build this also,
that.
of course. And since we talk about the aspects of religious cities, though, Touba is our city of Sheikh Al-Khadim, Sheikh Ahmad Bamba Khadim Rasul, saluting salam again to the Khalif, Sheikh Muntaqa, and Touba becoming, and not becoming, is right now the second city in terms of population of Senegal. And a lot of investment being done because, you know, Murids, we're very entrepreneurial.
Yes.
We're building our own palaces, we're building mosques, we're building Mazalik al-Jinan is built by the Murid community. And also, so since Murid doing a lot of stuff for their own, is it the government should like invest in different, some kind of areas that the Murid community not really meaning infrastructure inside of Touba, investments like that. Yes, I agree. In a whole nutshell, what is the government is in mind? I
have been talking about this huge ecosystem project that some people are talking about in Touba. I was in Touba, and to me, we shouldn't have water on the streets in Touba. We should have a draining system. We should have, for example, solar energy in Touba. We should have a green belt in Touba. There is a lot of things we need to have happening there and around the country. But we need to be conscious about who's going to do it and what we can do. But you're right. I mean, it's good to have big mosques and all of that. But I think the education also, not only the government should be helping out, and that's what our role is. Like I told you, the example of people who come to me and say, I have money, I have a project, or I have a project, I don't have money. So we need to think about investing where we need to invest. Because, for example, there's a lot of people going to the Magal. So we need to make sure that, you know, the environment is clean enough. The environment should be clean enough for us to make sure that we understand all the needs of the people, the inhabitants in Touba. It's good to have mosques, but where people walk or drive their car to get to the mosque is important. It's good to make sure that it's clean where people, because there is a lot of cooking happening. The market should be, you know, widened. I'm thinking about, yesterday I was at the market thinking, who's going to build this huge modern market? I know there are billions in Touba sleeping somewhere. And somebody has to undertake those projects and being helped by the government.
That's beautiful. And this is right now, this is a rainy season, it's flooded all over the city, even by the vicinity of the mosque in Darul Marnan. And this has been going on for a long time though. Is it really, I'm not saying it may be the mayor of Touba or the government who's responsible of this situation.
Altogether, but the government just sent 10 billion. I hope you...
10 billion?
10 billion was sent last week. And the Minister of Infrastructure was there.
Beautiful.
And they are starting this project on sanitation and all of that things. So hopefully this project will go faster because it's really needed in Touba. And I think the President is aware, and he's did it in Touba, in Fatik, all those, there are many regions, and it's a funding by the West African Bank too. So I hope
if they drain the water, where are they going to pour it out? They're going to take it out of the city or the vicinity?
No, they need to find, like we were talking about, we need to transform all the waste into energy. That's easy. That's what they do in Silicon Valley and everywhere. You take the waste, you drain it, and you put it somewhere, it becomes solar energy, or it becomes also something for agriculture. You can use, every waste can be used nowadays in this world. Nothing should be drained all over anywhere. Most of the time, I mean, it needs a lot of technology, but to me, you know, we can use everything, the waste, I mean, all the garbage can be now transformed into but we need to do recycling, we need to do solar energy, and all that needs education, and we need a project that is sustainable and for people to be more involved and get, like you said, the education to be involved in those projects.
Absolutely. And also in terms of the water, because we've seen the water is not of a good quality, and then something could have been done from you know, the government or the city over there, and it's been, again, it's been a long time since the creation of Touba. We're still drinking, anytime I see on television Flint in America, how they complain about the water, I'm like, you should have seen the water in Africa really before. So something really needs to be done, because there was an organization with the Ma'u Rahma, with Sering Ahmad MBACKE, who was the head of it, and really went out a while ago. So can there's something that is government have a plan in terms of helping us with the
project
water problem?
I'm telling you about, if that works out, is part of the water, is part of that. And I think Ma'u Rahma and all these projects that were here needs to be reinstated, because to me it's needed. It's needed in Touba, it's needed in Senegal, and I agree.
And it's growing, the population is really growing exponentially.
Everybody is moving out, is moving there, so we need to make sure we have a strong, solid, you know, program for water, and I do believe that. So for the whole Senegal, actually. So and I know the president is aware of that, and we just need people to be more, you know, into it, and the funding is there, because what they just did, the 10 billion, part of it is about the water too, and the draining system.
That's beautiful. So what's in Ms. MBACKE, what's in your plan? This is going to be part of our last questions though. What's in your plans though, of your organization? What do you got in the future?
For F.A.I.S.E, we have about 11 or 12 countries that did not receive funding. So the action plan for now on to 2020 is to make sure that every country that Senegalese live has a fund, a support fund that's revolving, that stays in that country. Because it's important for people to understand that the fund doesn't come back to Senegal, it stays in the country, and people will be able to reapply, get a loan, and pay back, and be strengthening that fund, so that we don't have to bring more funding. Also the program, the action plan is to have the expertise of Senegalese abroad, and to do what we call a listing of what Senegalese abroad can do in Senegal, because this is a country that's moving and it's growing fast. We need people to come back with their expertise and help out in these programs. And the president is very interested in knowing what the diaspora can bring to Senegal. That's why he's receiving many people who come with investors or who have good ideas. And through F.A.I.S.E and through our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I am greeting my minister, Mr. Sidiki Kaba, who's doing a great job. I always think about when we can make sure that Senegalese take care of one part of the economy in Senegal, because they can. The Senegalese abroad can. I'm also thinking about why we always asking for government to bring money, for example, to send people who die abroad, because the program should be people having their own insurance. Senegalese should be thinking about getting insurance, because in a country like America, it's, you know, it's, you have to have insurance. So you can buy a policy to make sure that what something happened in your family, you can take care of it. So we're trying to do this many things to make sure, because we have a president who's very aware of what the problems are in the diaspora, and he's always, like, when he travels, he always makes sure he meets people and listen to what they need. But once again, government cannot do it all, so we need to make sure that everybody's part of this action plan to make it happen.
Oh, beautiful. Are you part of the party, President's Party, APR?
Yes, of course. I'm even part of when APR was not even, you know, in power. I've been, like I said, I wanted a change, and I believed in a change, and I made a choice. Fortunately, it worked with the President Macky Sall, because to me, he was the only person credible at that time because of his involvement in government for a long time. I think we need to build on people's experience. And that's why I think he can make it, because he knows how to listen. He's been in government, and now he's a president. That's why even many people don't forgive him in many mistakes, because he knows what a state is. I don't know. I didn't work in states until 2013. I just looked at the government from afar and criticized. But now that you are in it, you can tell. You have to tell people the truth, first of all. You have to do your work. And you have to know that you are here just for a short time. So impact your people, impact your country, and make a big impact on whatever you're doing.
And we're heading to soon to another presidential elections, so coming in 2019, and then there's some tutoring, some parrainage or sponsoring going on. Is you guys doing well right now?
I mean, I think, inshallah, President Macky Sall has a second term.
The chance of getting the second term, or
he's gonna get a second term. It's not a politician talk.
Right.
He's done it, and he has shown things he can do.
Right.
And for him to continue, we have to give him a second term. First of all, it's not politics. If I say it, people say I'm a politician. I'm not a politician.
Well, in your role.
No, I believe that people should work.
Right.
I believe in work being done, and he has done something, and he has to continue doing it. And give him a second term, he will finish the projects. Number one. Number two, I don't see anybody else around, seriously, that I don't trust right now that can do what he's doing. So for parrainage, don't even worry about it. We can give some to other people who need it. What I am in charge of F.A.I.S.E is not something for APR. President said, give it to every Senegalese who need it.
Well,
so I meet everybody. I meet people from all the political backgrounds, not APR. It's everybody. But at the same time, I can tell things like even F.A.I.S.E, what I'm in charge of. We used to fund 35 people a year from 2008 to 2012.
Beautiful.
I have just funded 4,000 women,
MashaAllah.
and 235 men in Senegal.
MashaAllah.
So that's something I can show.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, thanks you, Miss MBACKE. The time is up, and then we learned a lot with this interview, and we appreciate you being here though for the talk, inshallah. We had Miss MBACKE, of course, who's the administrative of what do you call them again? F.A.I.S.E, that is an association that's been created by Macky Sall, and we're doing a lot. We had again 3 billion for investment of the diaspora, helping them create jobs here abroad, and of course in Senegal. We from Touba always want a fair share though for our city, for Touba. Hope is coming, inshallah. There's a lot to be done in the water, like you said a while ago, especially in environment though. There's a lot that needs to be changed though. Is a mindset of our population to understand the environment is very important for the city of Touba, and also the water we drink. It's been a long time. We need to really upgrade the quality of the water that is supposed to be done. There's money, there's mine, the diaspora got it. It's something we're investing a lot abroad though, buying houses of Sitting Touba, investing a lot. It's about time now we invest in our own city. This is the city that really the Sheikh love. The Sheikh invests his time, invests his mind, invests a lot of things that the city be like it is today. Touba, our only city, inshallah. Again, thanks Miss MBACKE for coming, inshallah. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Jërëjëf Serigne Touba. Jërëjëf Imam Cheikh Ibrahima Fall. Thank you. It was beautiful. ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون ربنا سكر الذي بالكاف والنون ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون